And we've touched it, but we haven't really hit it the way I want to hit it.
Okay.
And that's standardized testing. Let's go back to when you all had to take standardized tests. How did you feel about it? Were you nervous? One of the interesting things that Crown Point High School did this year is they brought in animals, dogs, to let the kids touch them and play with them and things like that to reduce the amount of anxiety. How did you feel about standardized tests? I'm sure if you all get scholarships, you sailed through them. But were you nervous about it? And then I want to get it from the perspective of teachers. How much preparation? How does it feel when you have to do that? With the standards having changed over the last 3 years, and now we have iLearn. What do you expect to see? Because the standards, the test has not even been put together yet. So let's start off with you. How do you feel about standardized testing?
All right, so I was, kind of lucky through, like excelling through them for the most part. But then as I started to hear about like being required to take, I never actually had to take the I-STEP in high school. I was like the class.
The last ECA class?
The last ECA class.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have to go through that, and I heard about them taking it, and I don't know if they were taking it seriously, to be completely honest. And, with them knowing and hearing about what's going on with, like, the testing and things like that, teachers might actually be telling them, and it's really sad, that this doesn't matter. That this really, you don't have to pass this, but I'm going to teach you, I guess, but you don't have to pass it, which is really sad. Like, so we need to, make sure that teachers are passing on the correct message. But on the same aspect, I've had, my SAT, ACT scores, were like barely passing for the scholarship I actually got. So I'm not the best test taker actually, but I made sure that I would keep up with my grades so that, I may not have the test scores there, but, I had the GPA or whatever it was in extracurriculars. But testing, on something that is just really broad, like math, it could be any part of geometry, any part of Algebra 1, or whatever it may be. So, it's tough. It really is. So I don't like it.
Wait till you take the praxis.
Right.
So Theresa.
Yeah.
So in elementary school, like 3rd grade was the first standardized test, the I-STEP, and I remember the teachers being crazy about it, like, make sure you get good sleep, good breakfast, you have to, do your best, and then afterwards they would give us snacks and stuff, and you did a great job, don't worry, like, it was a big deal, but I remember, like, that was really easy, like, why was it such a big deal? And then 8th grade and like middle school we had the I-STEP again, and I just remember feeling it's not going to be hard, why is everyone still about that? But then in high school with the ECA and the PSAT and all those, it's like by then nobody cared. Like the kids don't care. I mean the teachers feel the pressure, they're trying to put their wants on the kids, but the kids don't care at all. It's like, this doesn't really affect me. So, well, I mean, SAT does with college and stuff, but still it's surprising how some people just don't care about college, so not me. I was going to say, teaching to a test, that just really angers me, because learning is supposed to be about exploring and just finding creativity and the love of learning and just navigating and learning, and if you don't put an expectation to you have to know this because it's on the test, like you should want to learn this so that you can have it and love it and it'll be yours. So the standardized test thing, I don't think it's good at all.
Okay, teachers. And by the way, Andrea teaches French and Leslie teaches physical education. So how does that work into standardized testing?
It's not included. I think it affects elective teachers because you're then looked upon as not being necessary. You could be looked upon as being a babysitter for the real teachers. So that changes the dynamics. For what I do, I feel strongly about physical education because of the health of my community and how it affects your education. So from a teacher perspective, that changes things, but also I'm allowed to go on proctor. So I get opportunity to watch children's light go completely out.
Really?
So at the elementary level, I'll just speak for my school, I already see them get disconnected with education. And I already feel defeated. I'm defeated before I get to school. Then I'm at school, then I have a test, and we over-test. So you taking one test, not just ISTEP, or whatever's coming next. You also having to do all these other tests throughout the entire school year, so most of your school year is testing. And it's draining. It's draining on the teaching staff now too because of the pressure in order to get pay, increase a competitive pay, whatever it is. It's just completely crazy. So even with the competitive pay and your letter grade and all of that, like for me, a lot of my teachers, all our salaries are stuck. And all the work that we put in, you only got like $150 for as an increase for an entire school year. So this year, it was just like, why am I doing all this extra work? And our children are defeated. It causes a lot of negativity across the board with the constant testing. So, so I did a project this year with my students, my 3rd through 6th graders. And so we took balloons and they just had to write on the balloon how they feel about testing. The majority of the children just like, I don't care about it. I don't know. Some had some profanity on theirs. How they feel about it. And it's defeating to watch children feel that way during a testing period. So you do what you can to try to relieve it, but once a person's light go out, it's difficult to get it to come back on. And especially when you test them all the time, and it's mandated, everybody's light is going out at elementary school.
So I think I have 2 things that I absolutely agree with you 100%. One thing that we've done at Portage is the all for one, one for all, and that's, you know, that's it. So as a foreign language teacher, my expectation is that I will know what the math and English standards are, and whatever I can do to bring those into my curriculum, my lessons, I'm expected to do that. I'm expected to support SSR. I'm expected to support helping with math homework and all those kinds of things. And we really wanted all of our teachers to really buy into that, because at Portage, we, as you know, the only thing you can bargain is the salary. And so for us, if one person gets a raise, we all get it, as long as you're at that 3 or 4 or whatever for, you know, on the rise rubric. But they gave you, you know, it wasn't like, well, just the English teachers are going to get it. So we didn't have the SLO component, but we did have, like, you know, everybody's working towards a school grade. I teach dual credit classes, and so my students can get their 12 credits for foreign language that they need, and so that's my way of like contributing towards the CCR part of our school grade, the college career readiness part. So that's one thing that we as teachers at Portage really try to do, is everybody is in this together, even our kindergarten teachers, because eventually it's not going to be just dibbles, it's going to be the ISTEP when they get to 3rd grade. Second, our students are so over tested. You know, we had a NUIA this year, and the kids are like, what is NUIA? We did take away we took away STAR testing, but I'm not sure that that's going to stay permanent. We NUIA test 3 times a year, which means 12 days, and that's for English and for math. There's, of course, the PSAT, SAT, and ACT, and then we have Jumpstart for the kids that need Jumpstart for the ISTEP, and then there's still the kids who are in the ECA cohort, and then, you know, that's going to change again because the test is going to change again. And I absolutely feel like the students just don't care. I mean, they don't. And no matter how you try to sell it to them, I mean, we even plead with them like, look, you may hate the test, you may hate school, but I have your love letter pinned to my bulletin board telling me how much you love me as a student. So please, for the sake of us, could you take this test seriously if you really love us? You know, and some students will even say, I'm only doing this for you. You know, like, you know, thank God. But that is a problem when you have kids saying, D for diploma, I just want to get my diploma. You know, and, you know, because they are their light has gone out because they used to be so eager to learn.
Right.
But success begets success and failure begets failure. So when kids experience failure, they experience, oh, you didn't pass your eye read, guess who has to stay back in 3rd grade? Because one day's testing didn't work out for you. Yeah.
Right.
The other 179 days, you were great. But
Right.
that one day, you're not. So now you get to do 180 additional days of 3rd grade if you don't go to summer school and pass it. You know, so then you do wind up, and when you see kids walk in and the only thing that they're happy about on August 14th is that they're seeing some of their friends again, you know, but they're already like, oh my God, I'm going to have this class and this test, and you know, now with the social studies coming into it, and we don't even know, you know, what the test is going to be like or how that's going to count. And
We're
again,
going to have it. We don't even know
if we're going to have it, right? You know, and the seniors who are like, I mean, what are you going to do with a senior who doesn't pass a gov test that's given before the end of the government curriculum is given?
Well, I know that Evansville's talked about if that does go to that they'll probably move government to the freshman year.
Well, yeah, and speaking of that, we at Portage, you know, it used to be Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, and then Pre-Calc. We changed it to Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Geometry, because when they were taking that sophomore ECA test, it was an algebra test. Now, with the ICE step, there's, you know, a great portion of it that's on geometry. They take it their sophomore year and have not had geometry. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. You know, and I said, so are we going to change it back to the way it used to be? We don't know. We don't know because there's a new test coming.
I'd like to extend on something that Leslie referred to. I also play another role. I'm president of the Indiana Council for Social Studies, and one of the issues that we've been wrestling with, we've had some people in our organization do some research through Purdue University, is the fact that because of mandated testing, that more and more elementary schools are not teaching as much social studies. And that's been one of the ramifications of this over-testing, is that you have to teach the kinds of skills and content that's going to be on the test, and so they're starting to consider the others as anything else as being extraneous, and like if you have any time spent on it all, it's much more limited.
Because
so
the reading block a few years
Yes.
ago just wiped out a lot of the arts.
Correct. And so
Science
that's been
gets
another
pushed
problem.
out.
And
Social studies.
yes.
'Cause you have to-
Recess. I mean, when I was in kindergarten, we had 3 recesses. You know, I'm 40 years old, and I went to Cool Spring School in Michigan City, and we had 3 recesses. It was great. We played with our teachers. They played basketball with us. You know, we had the old gym equipment and stuff. But I mean, it was a great time. You know, you socialized with your friends, you socialized with your teachers, and then you went back to class energized and ready to go on. And when a kid goes to 6th grade and they've only had 1 recess their whole career, and now they have none, you know, 6th to 12th grade should have some kind of, oh my God, yeah. I mean, you know what those after class or after lunch classes, I mean, they're comatose.
The afternoon is shut.
Even though they hate the school lunch, they're still comatose.
Right. And when you brought up praxis, I almost cringed because, you know,
Just a moneymaker.
right, it is just, I feel like it is just a moneymaker. And
Isn't it
so
a Pearson test
it's
now?
called,
Yes.
it's called, Pearson brought out praxis, it's called the CASA now. I struggle with test taking. I would look at my transcripts, you know, A's and B's, went to go take that test and couldn't pass it for my life. I thought, what am I doing wrong? I know my stuff, I'm getting great grades, but this one test is holding me back. I was ready to student teach, couldn't move on, could not pass that test. I would, you know, thought I'd have a great day, sat down to take the test, missed it by 2, took it again, missed it by 10. I didn't know why.
Yeah.
I had no idea why. Since it's standardized, they don't give you why you didn't pass, what to improve on. It was just not pass. Well, how am I supposed to improve on something that I don't even know? You know, I'm going to classes, and then I had to take a year off of schooling because I couldn't pass my test.
We're like
And the
$500
cost,
each.
right? The cost of that for an adult,
Right, it's
You know,
$80.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a huge problem in Indiana.
Right, and
It
it's
is a huge problem.
it's awful, and I was not going to give up because I thought.